Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to review the Wired Directive series Snowboard. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a day that was snowing with heavy wet snow, so it was slightly warmer temperatures. Visibility would go from pure shit to utter shit and everything in between. The groomers were a little firm in spots and chundery in others, and I rode these with my K2 Indy bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. This board features Wired's multi-camber camber profile, which is basically a camber 2.0. You got a minuscule rocker section in the nose and the tail, and then traditional camber through the center with a negative core profiling that helps flatten it out to give it a little more play torsionally. Basically, camber 2.0. This board comes in 151, 153, 155, 157, 159, 161, 163, and 165. This board has a perfect middle-of-the-road all-mountain freestyle flex. You've got a sweet spot in the tip and the tail, it stiffens back up through the middle, and there's a fair amount of torsional give to it. The one big thing to note is that sweet spot in the nose and the tail. It's like a kinked flex point, so when you get your weight out over it, it locks in and you can feel like the board is just bent at a kinked angle, and it will stay locked in until you release it. It will not fight you, it will not rebound on you. It is just locked in absolutely perfectly. This board is stable to a point. You do get some chatter out in the tips, you'll get a little flapping speed, but it never really resonates back underfoot to give you a lot of leg fatigue. In rutted out terrain, it held its own, it didn't get bucked around, it didn't eat shit and die, so there you go, that's pretty much it. The camber profile is really easy to engage. You don't have to aggressively load it up. In fact, you don't even have to set up for it. You can just roll into whatever you're about to hit and then pop. That's nice because you don't have to calculate, oh, well, I've got to preload the board to get it to snap to engage. And when it comes to jumps, this board handles them perfectly well from small, medium to large. I would say that medium is probably its strong suit. Stuff in that 20 to 35 foot range is really where you want to be with this. Small stuff tends to just kind of overshoot everything when you do load it up because that lip is going to throw you, and this board does have rebounded snap to it. So when it comes to buttering and jibbing, the biggest thing to note is that flex point out in the tip and the tail. Like I mentioned, it's a kinked flex point, and you're going to engage it whether you want to or not. And that board is just gonna flex right into it and stay perfectly locked in. Doesn't matter if you're going slow or fast, it's just locked in. It makes pressing awesome on this board. It just locks in that well. It's good. It's just really good. Slow speed jibbing, high speed jibbing, slow speed buttering, high speed buttering, it doesn't matter. And if you want to get sideways on a feature, that camber between the feet just holds its own. You can feel it just lock in and hug on whatever feature you're on. This board does a great job of just being well balanced. This board steers relatively close to underfoot, which makes it easy to transition from edge to edge. If you like to do tight, quick turns, this board's got you covered. And if you want to do long, hard, drawn out ones, it's got you covered. This board just rips a turn no matter what you want to do. It's easy to engage, and you can really feel the rebound out in the tips, especially the tail when you're pushing into the board and getting it to slingshot out of carves. So who is this board for? It's definitely for the all-mountain freestyle guy that wants to pop and play around on the mountain. Someone that understands that they need snap from their board for their type of riding. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is detune the shit out of this board when you get it. This is one of the sharpest boards I've ever taken right out of the wrapper and gone to ride. I don't detune when I test any of these boards, I just go out and frickin' ride. That's just how I am. This board's edges were some of the most aggressively sharp ones I've ever encountered. Now, after that, the flex point in the tip and the tail is so unique to this board. I've never really experienced anything quite like it in the last few years. You can feel that kinked point, and I know I mentioned that already in this review, but I need to just state it again. This board has just such a unique flex pattern. I love it. It was different and it was unique, and it's what stood out to me. It's not a bad thing. It actually just makes the board a little more versatile, and you can kind of comprehend how it's going to ride after about 3 laps. You're like, oh, this is exactly how it's going to lock in no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm buttering or jibbing, or if I need to just pop with it. That's how this thing rides. Comparable boards: the Jones Mountain Twin, the Capita DOA, the Ride Burnout, the Rome Mod Camper, it's on the same thing, the Interior Plane Project Honolulu, the Dinosaurs Will Die Mate, the Dinosaurs Will Die Quan is also on there. Probably the Quan more than anything is like that. The Burton Custom Camber. Shit, there's just a lot of boards that this thing is like, okay? This has been my review of the Wire Directive Series Snowboard. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we've got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you'd really like to support us, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you more here, but I've got a video over there. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.